Sri Ma's special directives for spiritual aspirants. In order to advance towards self-realization, it is absolutely necessary for an aspirant to yearn constantly for his sublime goal. He should practice sadhana regularly, whether he feels in the mood for it or not. To criticize people or to feel hostile towards anyone harms oneself and puts obstacles into one's path to the Supreme. If someone does something bad, you should feel nothing but affection and benevolence towards him or her. Instead, think, Lord, this is also one of thy manifestations. The more kindly and friendly you can feel and behave towards everybody, the more will be the way to the One, who is goodness itself. Take care not to be contented at any stage. Some aspirants have visions, others realizations, or someone experiences bliss, great happiness, and thinks he has himself become God. On the spiritual path, before true realization supervenes, one may get caught in supernatural powers, vibhutis and siddhis. These constitute a grave obstacle. The positive proof that the aspirant is centered in God is that he ceases to hate any person or object, and that good qualities such as love, forgiveness, patience, and forbearance go on increasing in him. When this change takes place in an aspirant, he will come to see that the one Brahman, the absolute consciousness, pervades each and every form, all sects and creeds. An aspirant should not indulge in useless conversation or gossip, but speak only when it is really necessary, which means that he must be a man of few words. Try and try again to reach the goal you have set before yourself. So long as realization does not come, you must never relax your efforts. Let this be your firm resolve. In the quest of self-knowledge, love is the crucial factor, real bhakti, true prem. Whether it pleases you or not, you will have to make the eternal your constant companion, just like a remedy that has got to be taken. For without loving God, you will not get anywhere. Remember this at all times. Ma and V. Ganesan. In 1952, on her pilgrimage in South India, Ma was invited to Arunachala by Sri Ramana Ashram to lay the foundation stone for the construction of a temple over the Samadhi shrine of Bhagavan Ramana. Those who were present on that occasion still remember the meticulous and measured way Ma handed over one brick after brick to lay the foundation. When the traditional Purna Kumbha was offered to Ma at the entrance of the ashram, she graciously remarked, "Why all this? Do you all do this when a daughter comes to her father's home?" Falling prostrate at Sri Bhagavan's yet unbuilt Samadhi shrine, Anandamayi Ma solemnly stood up and spontaneously uttered the following words: "Here is the sun. We are like stars in the daytime." India abounds in sages and saints. Ma Anandamayi Ma occupied a special place in the spiritual history of India. True spiritual aspirants from the West and East flocked to her for spiritual guidance. She shed light as she was the great light itself. I could not be at the ashram and have darshan of Ma in 1952, as I was studying in the college, far away from Arunachala. When I came to stay permanently at Sri Ramana Ashram in 1960 and started to imbibe the import and greatness of true spiritual life, I had the great good fortune of having encouragement, support, and guidance of the old devotees of Sri Bhagavan who were there at that time. And by the early 1970s, when I was busy helping the ashram management in various ways, Mrs. Telayarkan, Balarama Redayer, and Hugo Meyer, as well as Dorab Framji, met me at the ashram office. They insisted that I go along with them to Chennai to have darshan of Ma Anandamayi, who was being given a rousing reception in that city. I could not immediately obey them. While Mrs. Telayarkan, Hugo Meyer, and Dorab Framji left earlier, the great good-hearted devotee Balarama Redayer stayed on and took me to Chennai towards the end of Ma's stay there. Thanks to these old devotees, I had my first darshan of Ma at the Kalki Gardens, where she was staying and conducting satsangs. She was giving a talk, and I listened with rapt attention as she said, "To lose control over oneself is not desirable. In the search after truth, one must not allow oneself to be overpowered by anything, but should watch carefully whatever phenomena may supervene, keeping fully conscious, wide awake. In fact, retaining complete mastery over oneself. The loss of consciousness and of self-control are never right. While absorbed in meditation, whether one is conscious of the body or not, whether there be a sense of identification with the physical or not, under all circumstances, it is imperative to remain wide awake. Unconsciousness must be strictly avoided. Some genuine perceptivity must be retained, whether one contemplates the self or any particular form. What is the outcome of such meditation? It opens up one's being to the light, to that which is eternal. The devotees took me near Ma and made me prostrate to her. When I stood looking at her, she showered her grace on me so profusely that I felt as if I was in the physical presence of our beloved Bhagavan. I stood still in ecstasy. However, I was taken away very quickly as there was a long queue of devotees waiting behind me. When I expressed to the old devotees my wish to meet Ma personally and seek her blessings, Balarama Redayer held my hand and assured me that he would take me to Ma, who was leaving Chennai the very next day. Impatiently, I waited for the fortunate hour. The next day, Balarama took me to the central railway station. There were lots of police constables guarding all entrances. He held my hand and walked in to the right, the royal manner to the compartment in which Ma was traveling. Her compartment was adorned with flower garlands, so it was very easy to locate it. There was a thick posse of policemen guarding it, but none dared stop the majestic Balarama, and he boarded the compartment with a meek Ganesan in tow. Ma was seated all alone. Not a single other person or assistant was there. Balarama prostrated to her and directed me to put my head on her outstretched feet. She blessed me by fondling my head and asked me to rise up. Balarama introduced me as the grandnephew of Sri Ramana Maharshi and added that I sought her blessings, especially for progress in my sadhana, as all I had left all worldly links and was permanently staying at the ashram, serving the old and new devotees. Ma graciously blessed me and said, "Everything is in God's hands, and you are his tool to be used by him as he pleases. Try to grasp the significance. All is his. And then you will immediately feel free from all burdens. What will be the result of your surrender to him? None will then seem alien. All will be your very own, your own self. Either melt by devotion the sense of separateness, or burn it by knowledge. For what is it that melts or burns? Only that which by its nature can be melted or burnt, which is really just the idea that something other than yourself exists. What will happen then? You come to know your own self. By virtue of Guru's power, everything will become possible. I bless you, child." Ma put her hands again on my head and said, "Sri Maharshi's grace is fully on you. Stick to your sadhana studiously. Guidance will flood you. Sri Bhagavan's teachings of self-inquiry is your path. Stay at the ashram. Don't go anywhere else. Bhagavan is your guru. His teaching is your only guidance. Arunachala is your pilgrim site. All blessings will accrue to you. I bless you, my child." She gave me 2 oranges and gestured to me to eat them. Balarama too confirmed it, so I ate both of them in Ma's presence. I felt her grace seeping in and profusely blessed.